Hi, my name is Meng Huozhan.
My name is Wenqi Tang.
Our project is about to create a music rating system. First, let's have an overview of our project. In real world, there are so many aspects that we could say whether a music is good or not, including feelings of the listeners, number of plays online, number of likes, and the reputation of the composer, whether he's famous or not, the music style is familiar or not, and etc. So music is very subjective. To different people could have different feelings and they could have different emotions to the same piece of music. So we, inspired by this, we would like to create a fuzzy system in order to determine how we rate a music piece when we are listening to it. Why we are choosing music as a rating is that music is very subjective. It is fuzzy. So it is a very good representation that our world is a fuzzy world. So we choose music. And we want to give a reasonable score for a piece of music. Sometimes for me, for myself, I don't like the music that I'm not familiar with, so I will rate it is very personal. So with the implementation of fuzzy logic, it will use the words like famous, not famous, to represent human linguistic, and we could use them to create fuzzy sets and membership functions that we could create this music rating system. For the implementation of this project, we will use programming language Python, and there's one model kit that we have installed that is skfuzzy. It is a fuzzy logic toolbox that contains many fuzzy functions we could use, and it need to be installed in Python. We're using pycharm. It could be installed inside, and we will create a graphical user interface that will allow the user to have their inputs, and the output of the program will be a rating, a percentage rating between 0 to 100. And like 100 is the music is perfect, and 0 is the music it is nothing is noisy. Okay, so we create a bunch of fuzzy rules that will help us to determine whether the rate is high or low. And here are some examples. To be noticed that when we look at the rule, if the composer is not famous, but the music, the number of plays of this music is very high, then we could conclude that this music is very popular and is a good piece of music. So for the last rule, I wrote composer reputation unknown and number of places high, then the rate will be high. So it is also a representation that the fuzzy logic is better than the crispy logic to solve this problem.
Okay, moving on to the implementation of the code. We first start with a list ranging the feeling composer and the rate from 0 to 10. And so actually only the feeling and the composer have the range of score from 0 to 10, and that is a number. And for the rate, we have the percentage from 0 to 100. So after defining these things, we generate fuzzy membership functions. And now we could look at these variables. So x feel means the function on feeling. So the comp is the composer, and the rate is just the rate for the music. The feel means feel poor, and the next one feel AC means feel acceptable, and the feel go means feel good. The composer UN means composer unknown, and the composer NF means composer not famous, and the composer FA means composer famous. So we just create those variables to means that the range of that from low to medium and to high. And then there are some example of fuzzy rules. So there are only two rules exampled here. The first one, rule one. So we use this function to develop the rule, and then feeling good or composer famous will get to the rate of high. And the second one is similar to the first one, except we change the or to an. So this is two examples of our rules. And here is the membership function graphs. So as we could look at the three graphs, the first two of them are feelings and composer. So for the feeling parts, the blue line means the feeling is poor, and the green one means acceptable. So that's kind of medium, and the yellow one means good. The composer is similar as the feeling, rated from 0 to 10. And the last one, the rate one, since it rated from 0 to 100%. So the x-axis changed from 0 to 10 to the 0 to 100%. But it's similar with the first two graphs. So this membership function graphs clearly shows how it works on the Madame interference system.
Okay, let's look at our output result. And we are going to create a graphical user interface. I'm sorry that we couldn't show it here. It's still under development. And we just want to ask the users the feeling, the composer's reputation, the numbers of plays, whether it's high, and the number of favorites, whether it's high or low, and then the system will generate the rating as a percentage score to the user, like 98%, 27%, or something else. And our rule will working together, the fuzzy rules will combine them, and by the Madame inference system that we learned from class, it could give us a result line on the function graph, so we could get a percentage score. For further improvements of our project, we noticed that music is very complicated, and we are not very professional. That we don't have much knowledge about like writing a music or creating music. So we just have some general ideas, and we only create 5 fuzzy sets that could rate a music. But actually, in real world, to determine if music is good or not, there are so many aspects. So we need to add more fuzzy sets and rules to rate a piece of music more precisely. And also, we will finish our graphical user interface for the final delivery. And the system also needs more test results to test its accuracy and its functionality. To make a conclusion, music is highly related to personal feelings. That's why we want to use fuzzy logic to determine it. And fuzzy logic is the best way that we could represent a music is good or not compared to the crispy logic. Like sometimes for me, I'm not familiar with rap, and I don't really enjoy and listen to rap. So I will not I will not believe that I will not think that rap is a good music, and I love popular music, so I will think popular music is good for me. But actually, raps are very popular in the real world, and many people love them. So my personal feeling could not represent all of the people, other people. So by this fuzzy logic system that could get rid of those kind of very personal feeling stuffs and give the music a fairly reasonable score. Okay, I think that's all for our presentation today. Hope you have a nice day. Thank you
Cheers.
for your time.